How's it going, Critter Family? Hope you all are doing well. Today we are going over a video by Brad Shenanigans. Is the name of his channel. I'm assuming his company name is Healers Anonymous. Very cute. After covering the Healer Mama a couple days ago, I saw this video and thought this would be interesting to look into to see how he trains. I have no idea about him. This video is 3 years old. I've never seen him before. The title of his video is Smoky Training Series, Blue Heeler Puppy Training, Episode 4, Leash Training Your Dog. So apparently this puppy has never been on a leash before, and so we're going to see how he trains this puppy. I wonder how old the puppy is, but apparently it's young enough to be considered a puppy. So, never been on a leash before. We'll see how it goes. Before we get started, if you want to join us, we are trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, or by the January 1st of 2026. We are so close. We are close to 1,800 right now, and we are so close to reaching 2,000. That is my main goal, so we can grow our community and expand and just have a lot of good people and lots of good fun and all that good stuff. So if you're interested, then subscribe to the channel, but let's get started.
To a new episode of the Smoky Training Series. Some really exciting things today. Smoky has never been on a leash, so of course every time we do a new video with Smoky, we try to show you the first time with her as if it were the first time with you. So it's a little bit more real, so you know what to expect.
Smoky looks hot.
Bit nervous, if you remember.
Okay, definitely nervous. We see if she had a tail, it might be down a little bit more, like to her side. She's laying down. She's stress panting. She has wrinkles in her lips right here, and it looks like she has crescent eyes, or her eyes are closed. Lots of stress right here, or I would say a hot dog, but because of the wrinkles right here, I would definitely say that she looks like she's stress panting, and he also confirmed that.
Away in December, it's now March. I haven't had a lot of time with a new job to take her out, so the weather's nice, it's a beautiful day, and we're going to practice some leash training. I'm hoping that she's going to be a little bit nervous so that you know what to expect with your dogs if you have a dog like that. So one quick thing before we get started, if you noticed, we changed the name of the channel from the Red, White, and Blue Healer channel to Healers Anonymous. So,
So I want you to notice that while he's talking here, looks like a 4-foot leash. I like to use a 6-foot leash because I like to give my dogs, especially shorter dogs, I like to give them a little bit more room. It looks like she's on a regular collar, but he's allowing this pulling right here. If this is the first time she's on a leash, she's doing very well, because if she's already this old and this big and she's never been on a leash before, some dogs would really freak out and they flip out when they feel this tension. But he seems to be he has a little bit of what I call loud hands. And I didn't make up that term. It's a term in the horse world that a lot of people use, is loud hands. So think about this as being, reins on a horse's mouth. You want to have soft hands, because if you use a bit, I don't use a bit. I don't like bits on horses or anything like that. And yes, we're talking about dogs, but if you use a bit on a horse's mouth, you don't want to be pulling and jerking and popping and everything like that. Just like if you have a collar around a dog's neck or a halter on a dog's face or any other creature, you don't want to have loud hands where you're popping, your hands are going over here, and you're using a lot of tension and popping versus gentle, steady pressure. So right now he has pressure and tension on this leash. If he were to use his fingers to just to continue to apply that pressure very gently and moving his fingers just this far back, and she were to move into this pressure, then I would drop that leash. I would drop my arm, drop the leash, and make sure there's a nice loop in it to teach her to give into pressure. That's how I teach loose leash walking. I'll put a card up here, or I'll put something up here so that you can see that this is where links to a video of how I teach loose leash walking, and we'll check that out later on in the video as well. I also leave a link of it in the description below in every video.
The old name was confusing. Some people have a lot of international.
So again, he continues to keep that tension on the leash. He drags her into him, and I think he's kind of dragging her into him because he used a little bit more tension than I would have liked if I were doing this. He drags her in, he keeps the tension there. He doesn't drop his hands and make the leash really as loose as possible. This is why I like a longer leash. I like a 6-foot leash, not a 4-foot leash, because it doesn't give me enough room to really give the dog a lot of slack. I like my dog to have a lot of slack. I don't care about a dog being next to me. I don't know if that's what he's going to do or not, but a lot of people have a short leash so they can keep their dog right next to them and their dog doesn't have room to move around in front of them.
Viewers, but it's fine. This one makes more sense to me. If you're addicted to healers, this is the right place for you. All right, so
again, she's
leash
pulling.
training, some suggestions. First thing you want to do, what I've already done, is you just put the leash on your dog and you let them walk around your house with it so that they're used to it. They might be nervous just having this thing pulling on their neck.
So he looks like he's being a little bit rough with her. I can't really tell. Sometimes when I'm working with a dog that really pulls hard because they've never had a leash on or they've never been taught not to pull and they just pull really hard, sometimes it looks like I'm being more aggressive than I want to be. But I know that I'm using as light pressure as possible, as light pressure as is necessary to get the dog to give me, to move into that pressure. So he may not be acting as aggressively or may not have as loud of hands as I think he does, but he doesn't really seem to drop his hands to give her more of that slack.
But people like to use training leashes. That's just fine if you want to do that for this.
I'm not quite sure what a training leash is. A training leash could be, I know what a training collar is, unless that's what he means. A training leash could be one that hooks up to a harness that has the front, and a back clip, the front clip harness and a back clip, and you have a leash that has you have one handle and like a really long leash that has two clips. One clip would go here, the other one would loop through a ring and go to this part of the harness here. And this part would actually go to the front of the harness over here. So you would have it so it would turn around. So you would basically have reins on a dog that you can use. That's the only type of training leash that I can think of. I think it's called, I don't know what it's called, like a freedom leash or a freedom harness or something like that.
I just have a collar and a leash that's hooked to the collar. That's it. So
I like to teach in a harness versus a collar. I mean, I do teach in a collar, but if the dog's never had a leash on before, I want to put them on a harness so long as they're comfortable with it. If they're not comfortable with a harness, then I'm just going to use the regular collar. But I want to make sure that if I'm going to be using a collar, that I'm even more sensitive and light-handed because I don't want to hurt the dog or scare the dog or teach the dog any unnecessary behavior, such as, they feel tension and they automatically want to pull and they pull and hurt themselves. So they start choking themselves on leash. I don't want a dog to start choking himself on a leash, especially on a collar.
For us, that's good enough.
So again, he's putting more tension. He's constantly using tension on this leash is just what I see so far.
Going to a park. We've already had that experience of her running away, staying in a place where she's comfortable. Right now I'm just in my neighborhood. My house is a couple doors down there. We've kind of come over this way a little bit just because.
So another good thing you can do is possibly use a long line with her, especially in the house or outside in the yard in a fenced-in area or somewhere where she's not going to be nervous enough to run off and go and choke herself at the end of a 20-foot long line. A long line is just a long leash. But that's something that you can give her, a good 10 feet of leash that she can wander around and you still have the other 10 wrapped up in your hands. Just make sure to keep a very close eye on your dog so that way if they do spook, they don't run, on a collar. I wouldn't have a long line on. I would have it on a harness for safety reasons. So that way she's not running to the end of it. She clotheslines herself and then she can break her neck or injure herself or cause damage to her body, even in a harness. But that way, I just like to have a little bit longer leash for dogs, especially dogs that are kind of new to it. So that way they don't feel trapped and confined. I don't want a dog to feel trapped with me. I want them to be able to sniff and wander. And if I were to use a long line, I would start it in a fenced-in area. I'm not going to use it in an area like this where there's, these people here in this, it looks like an apartment complex. They don't have fenced-in areas. So I would go to an area where there is a fenced-in, place, maybe go to a park when there's no dogs there. And just let her wander around with her long line, get used to the leash and teach her that, you slowly reel it in and get shorter and shorter and shorter. That's just another option that you could do.
We want to make her more comfortable with a bigger area. We've already done that.
How cute.
So let's see how she does. So this is good. She's not interested in the meat anymore.
That's good.
So this is probably something you're going to be dealing with. Usually this works with all the other dogs I've worked with. So we changed tactics. So what we're going to do is just give her some reassurance. That's kind of what she's looking for right now. She doesn't really trust me, even though it looks like she does. She's not.
So I don't think that is good that she's taking the meat. I mean, I see what he means by like showing an example for people who are like, well, what if my dog doesn't take food? Well, then what I would explain is I would personally go to an area where she's more comfortable, where she does take food. So I would go back in the house and practice there. And then, or I would take her outside and just sit with her for a little bit in this one area. I wouldn't expect to go very far. I wouldn't necessarily say it's good that she's not taking food because she's over threshold. She doesn't want to take food because she's too nervous. I would let people know that's not a good thing. I think he means it as, okay, this is good for an example for dogs who don't want to take food. But again, repeating myself, I explain to people you want to be in an environment where your dog is comfortable enough to take food. If they're in an environment they're not comfortable to take food, then go back to the last place they were and work there a little bit more, or slowly desensitize them in an area that's new, that they don't want to take food, but be very careful about it and stay there for short periods of time.
Really comfortable with what she's doing right now. So what we're going to do is try to go past our friend over here again. You're going to see her get a little bit nervous again. She might not want to come right
So
away.
I wouldn't even worry about walking past a friend, or whether it's a person or a dog or a guinea pig or whatever it might be. I would just be focusing on sitting on this porch here. If this is the apartment or the place that he lives in, I would just sit here on the porch. I would have her on maybe a 15-foot leash and let her wander around. And I would let her get used to this area here. And I would make sure if she's on a 15-foot leash or something like that, that she doesn't have enough slack to go and hang herself, literally. I would take out that slack as she gets further away and make sure that there's a little bit of tension on it. I wouldn't have her on a collar on a 15-foot leash. I would have her on probably a regular 6-foot leash then if she's going to be on a collar. If she's comfortable with a harness, I would have her on a 15 to 20-foot leash. And I would just be letting her wander, 10 to 15 feet around the exterior of wherever the apartment complex is, or wherever the particular apartment is in the complex.
Smokey, come on. Good girl. So she came with us. We're going to reassure her.
So I don't think she likes that touching. I think, especially being a stranger, that could be more aversive for a dog than rewarding and reinforcing. Because as he went to go touch her, her back went down. She started lip licking.
If she starts to pull, train immediately to get her to take that tension off the leash. That's
okay.
Exactly what we're going for. So, yes, good girl. She doesn't want the meat. Oh, there she is. Good girl. Good girl.
So I don't know if he's actually giving her any or if he's just letting her lick it. If you just let them lick it, to me, that's not enough reinforcement. I want to give them little tiny, if you're worried about them getting too many treats, then, work for a short period of time. Or I would give them a, like for a dog the size, like a pea-sized piece of meat or half of a pea, but it's enough reinforcer that they get something to physically chew and eat, even if they swallow it whole.
Good puppy. You're so cute. Yeah.
So I do like that he's not popping and jerking her.
Good. Good girl.
Looks like he's just letting her lick it, though.
Come on. Smokey. Good girl. Come on.
And I don't know if it's just me. She looks like she's a little chunky for a young cattle dog. I don't know. I mean, he says puppy. Heeler puppy training. So, I mean, if you have a little puppy, I mean, she looks like a big, I don't know how big, I mean, healers can get to and people can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to send this so healer mama, if she wants to take a look at this, she can let me know if what she thinks about this stuff, and she can let me know. But healers can come in different sizes. I think they have miniature healers and then like regular average size healers. So I don't know the size. I think, I would assume the regular healer would be like 40 pounds, maybe 50 on the larger size. Not calling them fat, but this puppy looks a little bit round for being this size. So I don't know if she's going to be a big healer or not, but she just looks a little bit
Anytime she looks
round, a little bit chunky, but again, I could be wrong. Maybe that's just the way the breed looks.
You catch it, you want to get that almost immediately.
So she's been pulling here for a little bit and he's not stopping her.
A little tug on the leash to get her to
okay, so I don't like that. I don't like that he's tugging. He's given up on the food that he let her lick and not eat pretty quickly.
The tension off.
So now he's changing the oh, nice shininess from her tag. Now he's changing the training plan, which I was worried that he was going to do.
Pretty smart. They'll figure out and solve those problems, as you can see.
He still has, I mean, the leash is just really short. I don't like 4-foot leashes for tall people and short dogs. I like a regular 6-foot leash, if not longer, because I don't mind using both hands to control the leash. But a lot of people just want to hold on to that one handle or that one traffic part, you know, their traffic lead where there's like a second handle right by the collar. That's called the traffic lead. So it's like a 1 foot leash or 6-inch leash. And people want to hold on to that and hold their dogs back. I don't want to hold my dog back.
So now that we've done that here, let's see how she does on the sidewalk.
So that was not enough training here. You're moving really, really quickly. I think his name is Brad. Yeah, his name is Brad. So I think Brad is working very, very quickly for this dog who's already nervous. I don't know if she's in a board and train. If she is, I don't know how long she's been there for or how long she's going to be there for. You know, he said that she seems really nervous around him. So I'm going to assume this is a board and train. And I don't know if this is day 4, this is episode 4. I don't know how many days he's been working with her with. He could be doing all the episodes in one day. But she's still very nervous walking around here. I wouldn't take her to the sidewalk.
Okay, so you've practiced in your home, you've practiced in your yard, places where they've played and familiar with. That's good to start there, just to build some trust. Now we're going to practice on the sidewalk. She's never.
And I don't know what's going on with the audio. I hear it only through one headphone as well. I hear it only through the right headphone. So hopefully I'm not crazy.
Walked on the sidewalk. It's unfamiliar territory. She's not sure what to expect or what to do. There's going to be some nerves. You're going to see that. As a matter of fact, we started this part of the video and she took off. She was that nervous. So I'm going to go.
So she took off what, off leash, or she ran and took the leash with her? What happened? Why don't you explain a little bit more? I would love to hear that, to hear more in detail about how she took off.
We're going to come back and show you how to do that. Okay, so first thing we're noticing, ears, eyes, and nose.
You can see
her eyes.
Drooling here. A little bit of water here from drooling.
Are over there. Her ears are perked up. She's hearing some contractors that are at my house making noise. She's not
stress spatula tongue.
Familiar with that.
She's very nervous.
Very nervous dog as it is, probably from some trauma from running away. So how do we break her from that?
Quit choking her, dude. Quit choking her.
Come on, Smokey.
Instead of using, now it's a 2-foot leash. He has a 2-foot leash on her instead of using a 4-foot leash.
Good. And with the food there, her nose is the most powerful.
He lets her lick it. He doesn't
engaged,
actually
so
give it to
we're
her.
gonna
So
walk
I think that's a cheat. I really hate it when trainers do that because that's not enough reinforcement. That's like me showing you, hey, look, come this way. That's more like a bribe to me. You know, hey, look, I have this, but just because I have money doesn't mean you get it. I'm showing you I have $20 that I could give you, and it's just out of reach. If you keep going, it's like a carrot on a stick. You're able to touch that $20, but it doesn't go in your pocket. I don't like that kind of thing.
With that,
and again, he has a
girl.
2-foot leash on her.
And let her sniff it, even if she's not engaged in something.
Sniffing is not reinforcement, dude. He's starting to irritate me.
Good girl, come on. Everyone.
See, this is a carrot stick. She doesn't like you petting her. This is more, see how she sits and she tries to, she gets more nervous. And she's trying to get, crawl up you to get away from it. This is not necessarily helping your case. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this, people can see this as, this is making the dog more comfortable. I see it as making the dog more nervous.
Loves. She's very affectionate. Good job.
But she's like clamping onto your leg.
A little nibble. Let's keep going. Reminder the food is there.
This is a carrot stick. This is a cheating way, I think. I think this is a cheating way to bribe the dog to walk on a sidewalk versus how I might do it. People are like, okay, well then how would you do it? Well, I'm explaining everything here. I'm trying to explain how I would do it along with what I wouldn't do. So what I'm explaining here is what I wouldn't do. What I would do is I would still be by the house, by the apartment, and we would be wandering there, and I'd be rewarding her and actually giving her rewards to eat and ingest, not just lick or sniff and bribe her. I'd be giving her rewards over by the house until she's comfortable that she can walk around there and she's not showing any signs of stress. And she's, just wandering around and she's sniffing and all that. She can be on a 10-foot leash or a 15-foot leash and she's just, totally fine to do that. Then I would slowly work my way up just past that point, like 10 or 20 feet past the point of where the house is or where the apartment is. So we would slowly work our way up to the sidewalk, and I would have her on a harness, not on a 2-foot leash like this. I would have her on a not a 2-foot leash like this. I would have her on a 6-foot leash, and I would allow her to go in front of me, and she would be on a harness, and I wouldn't be popping her on the leash. I wouldn't, be bribing her with just a little sniff or a little lick of a treat, trying to cheat my way to get her to walk forward. I want her to walk forward of her own idea. So if I had to stand here for 20 minutes while she's sitting here and figuring out where she wants to go, that's fine. If she doesn't want to go forward, we don't have to go forward. We'll sit here for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll slowly walk our way back home. And I would make sure while we're walking back home that she's not pulling. So I had to make sure that Ellie wasn't crawling on top of Pinky.
Come on.
So I would allow her to look at that. I want her to look at whatever makes her nervous. She's not trying to run away. And what, because of how lazily he's holding his leash here. I mean, you don't need a death grip, but I wouldn't be just, letting it sit in my hand like that. That's probably how she got away the first time, was she ran away and it slipped out of his hand and she took off.
Come on.
She doesn't care about the food. Don't worry about the walk. I would allow her to sniff. I want her to sniff. I want her to stay in this one spot and get comfortable just like she did at the apartment. That's what I would do.
So now she's not really engaged with anything I'm doing.
Because she's over threshold.
So, a little bit of movement and a little bit of encouragement. And this is going to take a lot of time with her. You might have a dog that's like this. Come on.
Pop. I don't like to pop.
Good girl. Good girl. Let's see how far we can get.
So see, he's popping, dragging. All these little things are little things that I notice because the dog notices that. He's not letting the dog sniff and get comfortable in the environment. He's trying to cheat his way through and just say, how far can I get with this dog? Instead of, he says it's going to take time, but he's not prepared to take time. He's in a rush already. He already is in a rush too much. He's already trying to rush through this. He rushed from, I'm assuming, from in the house to outside. He rushed from being outside to this point. He's rushing at this point to see the distance and not the duration. The distance at how far he can go and not the amount of time that she spends here in this one spot, and then you move up and then you take that time there. So if I were with her, we were comfortable walking up to this point to the sidewalk. Then I would stay on the sidewalk and I would just let her, again, be on a 10-foot leash, or at least a 6-foot leash, because we don't want her running into traffic. But of course, you can keep an eye on that. Have your leash short enough. She's not going to run into traffic. But I would have her on, say, a 6-foot leash, and I would just let her wander around and sniff. Okay, sorry. I finally had to just lock Ellie out because she kept getting on Pinky's thing. So I had to lock her out. So I would get her comfortable outside the house, get her comfortable outside here, get her comfortable on the sidewalk to where I'm letting her sniff whatever she wants to sniff as long as she wants to sniff it. If we move forward a few feet, great. If it's her idea to move forward, then I would reward her. And if she doesn't want rewards, then I would just let her sniff and let her be. I'm not going to try and carrot on a stick her and try to trick her into moving forward when she doesn't even want the treat. But my goal is for her to want the treat. So that's why I take my time. And I actually take a little while versus I don't think this guy is taking a while. Maybe he's doing it for the sake of the video. I don't know, but it doesn't look like he is because he said, oh, she's great walking over here. Now let's move over here. That was not great. I would rather see a video where you actually take the whole time in one session and you make it parts. You can make it part 1, part 2, part 3, part 43. It doesn't matter. I would rather see that.
Let her sniff things. That's fine. Come on.
Yank.
This is great. And don't get too confident because
Yank.
you get too far
Lick.
from your house or where she's comfortable. She might want to take off and run away. So
she's heading home. So she's probably going to want to pull.
Distance and see. Try to keep that leash loose. If she pulls on it, we're going to just give her a little reminder.
Okay, so he popped her there just for the sake of popping, just to show you. That's the reminder. Instead of using his treats now, his food, now he's just going straight to popping. So he's changed the method up without even really informing people that now what we're doing is this. So he does it. So he follows the Cesar Millan bullshit.
Good. If that doesn't work, let's just distract her with the food.
Let's just distract her. I don't want to distract a dog. This guy doesn't seem like a very good trainer, in my opinion. I start to get, irritated when I see people moving too fast, or he's popping on the dog, or he's using rough hands with the dog. This is by no means, abuse or even borderline abuse, but compared to what, he's far more aggressive than I would ever be. I don't like that. I don't like the pop. I don't like any of the jerking. I don't like the 2-foot leash, keeping the dog right by his side. There's a lot of things I don't like about it, but I'm not going to call this guy an animal abuser like Joel is. Joel is, in my opinion, far, far worse. Joel Beckman of Beckman's Dog Training is far worse than this guy. But both of them don't seem to really know their way around a dog. Certainly not how to train it.
Good girl. Good girl. Good job. Good. girl.
So that as he goes down to go pet her, he's very aggressive, going down, bending down to go pet her. She gave a little lip lick.
Yes,
She's
you're so
comfortable
good.
with the
Good
petting
job. Let
because
her
of the meat,
munch on that a little bit. Good job. Good. So that's kind
but she's not really getting much of anything.
of what you'll expect. You're going to use the food. You're going to pay attention to what they're focusing
But you're
on.
bribing them with the food. You're not really giving them the food. You're just giving them a little lick like Tom Davis does with his stupid ass treats that he has. And he's like, look, they can lick them all day long and it doesn't go away. You know, it's like the gobstopper from Willy Wonka or, you know, whatever. I mean, it's, to me, it's not really an actual reward. It's just holding something in front of you to, you know, in front of your nose to just entice you just enough to say, well, maybe I'll get a chunk out of it this time. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe it'll help me do that. It's just annoying.
You're going to use the food and positive reinforcement.
But you didn't use positive reinforcement, really. That wasn't really positive reinforcement. That was a lot of positive punishment, which was popping on the leash. And that was bribery, in my opinion. You know, hey, you get a little taste of it. You don't actually get a reward. You get a little taste of it and then we move on. Because the dog is still too nervous to move because you're working too fast.
She did very good. You still want to take as much time as you need. Don't get too confident too quick. But for now, what I want to do is take Rosie out and show you some examples with her with a dog that's had a lot of training walking and is a little bit better trained. So
she's trying to run forward
show
now,
you
and
that
he's
just so you
dragging
know
her
what the
back, and
goals
he's
are.
not showing this on the
Bye,
video.
Smokey. She goes.
So he just let her go. He's reinforcing. He is, okay, I give up on this man. He is so dumb that he allowed this dog to pull. He was tired of dragging her back. He just let her go and said, okay, go run home because I know you're going to go home. Bye, Smokey. If this is a board and train, you are an absolute idiot because this dog is in your care. That's not funny. That's not cute. And you're letting her practice this behavior because you're an idiot, because you can't hold on to a fucking leash. Pardon my French, but I mean, good God, how incompetent are you?
So the first thing you're going to notice with Rosie is she's interested in things, she's looking at things, but you don't see nerves. You see
I see a nervous dog right there. I see a nervous stress pant a little bit. You know, we see these little wrinkles right here. That is a dead giveaway of stress. We have a tiny little collar on this dog. I would like a much wider collar if I'm going to be walking a dog on a collar. Otherwise, I would like to see them in a harness.
maybe a little bit of excitement sometimes.
Again,
and just
2-foot
interest,
leash.
But she's ready for commands. She's ready to do
Okay, so he talks about command instead of cue.
what I want her to do, and you'll see that. And why do I say that is because it's important for you to just pay attention to what your dog's feeling.
She's not ready for a command or even a cue. She's just ready to get going, to get walking.
What their energy is and how
There's also a knot in his leash. I don't like it when people make knots in their leash because it means they have a dog that pulls, and they like to have they like to have a safety net so that they can hold on to the knot when their dog pulls. I don't like it. I like my leash to be nice and smooth, and I can, I don't have knots, hitting my hand or knocking into my knuckles and things like that. That's just me.
need to adapt to that. All right, let's take a walk and show you what that looks like.
Again, 2-foot leash right by his side. I'm
So when your
watching.
dog
That was a very, very short demonstration. I'd like to see if she gets distracted, how many pops he gives her.
gets to the point where they're following you and have a little bit more discipline, some things you want to practice is
Again, very short, tight leash. This guy is a bit of a control freak. He's starting to look like Joel Beckman, where he's just constantly has the 2-foot leash or 1.5-foot leash tight.
some directional changes. If
Constantly putting
the dog
tension on the
starts
leash.
pulling on the leash, it's good to
He
teach
gave a
them
tiny,
that
tiny
you're
little
the
pop
one in
there.
command, they're following you.
Okay, so he follows the Cesar Millan baloney. That they're following me. They're I'm going for a walk and they're privileged enough to follow me. No, it's the other way around. This dog is so cute. The dog is not following you. You should be following the dog because it's a privilege to have a dog, Mr. Man. Sorry, Mr. Man is Sully's name. Is Sully's nickname on the Healer Mama. So I'm not gonna taint his name by calling this guy here Mr. Man. But this guy is a follower of Cesar. He does the leash pop. He does the dog will follow me. No, a dog is a privilege to own and to work with and to train and to get money from people for working with their dog. When you let loose on a leash and let them run away into who knows where because you're an idiot and you can't hold on to a leash, you are not, the dog is not following you. The dog should not be following you. Dogs walk faster than us. We should be walking either side by side as a partnership, or the dog can walk ahead of you. It's not the end of the world. The dog is not going to think they are higher than you in any kind of pecking order. Notice I don't say pack order, because the dogs are not pack animals, and humans are certainly not pack animals. We are primates. We are not a wolf. A dog is not a wolf. It's not the same thing, Cesar Millan followers. This guy is just...
You'll also notice, I want to make this point, that I don't do a lot of dominance training. I don't really believe in that. Actually, the guy that
very well trained dog, eh?
That originally wrote the book on alpha dogs and stuff. He
tight leash. He's choking the dog.
True for other animals, but not for dogs. In a wolf pack, for example, they're actually families. The dad isn't really dominant.
Okay, great. So you're talking about pack theory, which is great that you don't believe in that, but you still believe in it somewhat because you follow Cesar Millan because you say the dog should be following me. You feel like you should be the leader of the dog. So although you're not doing dominance, you're still popping the dog. You're still letting them run into traffic if they want to. If they want to run free, you're just letting them go. You're still a dummy in a lot of other ways, in my opinion, because you're instead of just calling him a dummy, he's an amateur in a lot of other ways. He's not very well trained himself in a lot of other ways of training other dogs. That he has this constant tension. Look at this leash pulling up on this dog's neck. Look at the short lips.
He's just the dad. Your dog will actually pay more attention to you, love you more, give you more companionship, more discipline.
Dog is nervous. They want to move, and he doesn't care.
More like a family member. So
thank you for that. Thank you for. I do appreciate that much, at least. But that mixed in with the other Cesar Millan baloney tells me that you still believe in that somewhat. And maybe it was just because he follows Cesar Millan. It seems like he does. Maybe it's because of the Cesar Millan who changed his ways. I'm saying that in a very dramatic way on purpose because, people, think that because Cesar tries, he's not very successful with it, but tries to be positive, that they forget about him hanging dogs with a prong collar, i.e. Shadow. Shadow was a wolf dog that he choked almost into unconsciousness before, that he's been aggressively, he had a pig attacked. He's chased. I've done a video on him that got taken down because of guess what, because it's Cesar Millan and he takes down all of his videos because of copyright, and it was blocked completely. But he had a dog that he chased in the sun for 20 minutes. He literally chased them for 20 minutes just to put a leash on them and then take them for a walk. So let's not forget all the dumb nonsense that Cesar's done, that this guy seems to be following, or whoever he's following. He sounds a lot like Cesar, but this guy I'm not a fan of so far. I think he has a lot of potential. He needs a lot of education. He needs to learn how to work with the dog and not think the dog needs to follow him. He needs to actually learn how to use positive reinforcement properly and not bribe the dog. As everybody's going to say, oh, this guy used positive reinforcement, he sucks. So that means that positive reinforcement sucks. No, it's the trainer. It's not the method. Or it's the owner that doesn't want to listen to the trainer, more qualified trainer, not this guy, because I think this guy is not a very good trainer. But it's not the method; it's the trainer.
Her daddy, I guess, and that she's not the one in charge. That she's going to be following.
It looks pretty warm out there.
Through some directional changes, and that's just a little bit of discipline. So these are some other things you want to practice. We're just going to go back and forth. We're going to do some turns.
So when you do those turns, I wonder if he's going to show us, and he will. I wonder if he's going to do any pops in those turns.
And just see how she does and maybe talk about it a little bit.
I would hope you would talk about it so you can explain your method. So there was a little tiny pop there. So we're just
going to surprise her with coming this way.
She doesn't want to.
Not sure why.
She doesn't like the construction going on over here. She laid down, had whale eyes, and gave a lip lick, and now she's looking away.
Rosie, come. Good girl.
Lip lick.
We'll say that's a fluke. Good girl.
No, that's not a
Come
fluke.
on,
There,
Rosie.
she's been nervous this whole
Good.
time, and you haven't noticed that. This dog is very nervous in this area, maybe because there's construction going on over here behind the screen.
Good girl. Maybe give her some reassurance because we don't know what that
Again,
was.
see,
That's
she
out
looked.
of
She gave a
character
lip lick, more lip licks, more lip licks. They don't like this aggressive petting that you're putting on them, dude. Stop trying to pet them.
for her. You just want to go home and play, maybe chase your ball. That's probably why. Come.
No, that's not probably why.
Good
She doesn't
girl.
like
So,
this area.
Just some back
Neither
and
does the
forth
other
like
dog.
this. When you change direction, you want her to change effortlessly. That's your goal.
And what happens if she doesn't? Does she get a pop? Does she use food? Or does she get food?
So that's all your goal is when you change?
I guarantee that he pops the dog. When he turns direction, they don't follow him.
Changes. And then we'll go back the other way and show you what a good turn might look like.
Drags the dog around.
And you want it to be pretty effortless.
I mean, that's
Good
easy. Any dog can
dog.
do that. That's not necessarily a very well-trained dog.
Good dog. Good job. I love you too. So I hope this video helps you. I hope that
It looks pretty warm out there. You can see the wiggles in the air over there.
I hope that you can get your dog to this point where you're enjoying taking her on walks. And if you have any questions, concerns, jokes, gripes, comments, threats, blackmail, emotional outbursts, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to look at those and answer them. I do appreciate the subscriptions and the views that I've been getting.
So that was his video. I'm not really impressed, and you shouldn't hold a nervous dog. You shouldn't hold a nervous dog like this in your arms. The dog does not look comfortable in his arms. But apparently he had to go grab her and carry her back home because she ran off on him, and he just said, "Okay, bye, Rosie, bye." So, I don't know. I'm not really impressed with him. I don't think he's very good. I think, I don't like that he's popping on dogs. He's not being aggressive and abusive, but he's more aggressive than I would like, and he's not entirely honest on how he switches up the methods. He says, "I was using positive reinforcement." No, you weren't. He's an amateur at best, in my opinion. So, anyways, I saw this. I thought this was interesting because I was looking at the healer Molly the other day, and I saw this, and I thought, okay, well, I wonder what, and I thought, well, I wonder what, how this guy's going to go, how this guy's going to do. And he turned out actually worse than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be, I was worried that he was going to be kind of one of those like Cesar Millan followers, or when I heard it was kind of a dead giveaway. But anywho, that's me. I'm very, very, very picky when it comes to training animals. Especially when people try to use the positive reinforcement, name, when they're trying to train under the name of positive reinforcement or under the method of it. I am not a perfect positive reinforcement trainer by any means, but I still know how to use it better than this guy to where you can actually get a better bond with your dog. And I may not even make it to the sidewalk yet. I would still be working around in this general area. So everybody knows I'm super hard on people. I'm hard on myself. Believe it or not, I'm just as hard, if not, I'm actually harder on myself than I am on other people when I'm cracking on them. And I'm just trying to be honest. This is one thing that I really know how to do, and I really understand it. And so I'm trying to show people little red flags here and there that when other people are being dishonest, whether on purpose or not, accidentally, they don't mean to be, they're not purposely being dishonest, but when they start hiding these little things, that's what I like to point out so that people can realize there's little red flags in this training, or there's little minute things that you may not notice, the little pops that he does to get the dog to respond when the dog doesn't want to take food from him, or when he can't reinforce the dog otherwise. So that was this video. If you like him, go subscribe. Apparently he's Healers Anonymous now, but the name of the channel was Brad Shenanigans. If you like my videos, then go ahead and subscribe. We are on our way to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, hopefully. And even if it takes a little longer, then it takes a little longer, but that's our goal. So thanks for watching. Hope you all are doing well. Go say howdy do to your little critters. Say howdy do for me. Give them some kind of love and they appreciate. Until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.